STLchevy.com. And by the State of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. The Clydesdales here. And some last-minute instructions from Tony La Russa to his catcher tonight, Yadier Molina. Pitching coach Dave Duncan back in uniform, and we're set for game number 2 tonight. The Cardinals looking for win number 74. This is the lineup that Joel Pinheiro will face. Houston native Michael Bourne will lead it off, and then Hunter Pence and Lance Berkman. Carlos Lee, Miguel Tejada, Jeff Blum, Kaz Matsui, Chris Coast, the former Phil, and Roy Oswalt is batting ninth. Our Marshall Wireless starter Joel Pinheiro, his 25th start, 3 complete games, and that record could be much better if he had run support this year. Al, he's 12-9.
Exactly right. He has a 6-game winning streak. The Cards are 9-0 in his last 9 starts, then 10-1 in his last 11. His ERA is 13th in the National League. He walks the fewest batters, and he gets the most ground balls of any pitcher in the National League. That's a pretty good winning combination.
A look at the Cardinals defense tonight, presented by Auto Tire. Holiday, Rasmus, and Keel in the outfield. DeRosa, Ryan, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. And the battery tonight for the Cardinals, Joel Pinheiro and Yadier Molina. Another crowd expected of around 40,000 here again tonight. Of course, the discounted seats for $4 in the outfield lows for this series against Houston. And a great promotional weekend coming up against Washington, beginning on Friday night with the water bottle night, half price night. Saturday is a photo day. And then Sunday, the Adam Wainwright bobblehead day. So all kinds of promotions coming up throughout this homestand here in St. Louis. And here is Michael Bourne, who is a speedster. And Michael Bourne last night started the game out with a double, but yet, Al, he was left at second base. He never advanced, and that was one of the keys in this game.
That was basically their entire offense, as Wainwright, closed out by Franklin, were so dominant in that 1-0 victory.
And the first pitch to Bourne, he'll bunt. It's rolling, and it will roll foul as DeRosa puts a glove on it. Is it as simple as saying that Joel Pinheiro is having success this year because he's pounding that sinker? Is it that easy to say as you see it roll foul?
No.
I didn't think so.
It really isn't, but he does have so much confidence in that sinker. But he has secondary pitches that he's also throwing for strikes, keeping people honest. But when you've got a good sinker like he's throwing, you can throw that almost exclusively with a changeup to something to get off it. But, you're just telling everybody, hit the ball, but just hit it on the ground, and I'll rely on my defense.
1 ball, 1 strike on Michael Bourne, who's sitting .292 with 3 homers, and he's driven in 30 this year. 1-1 pitch, ground ball. Pinheiro's got it. We have seen that a bunch in his time in St. Louis. We had no idea that this guy could field as well as he has wearing the Cardinals uniform. He's one of the best fielding pitchers in the game of baseball.
You're right, Dan. The Cardinals have some very good athletes that are on the pitcher's mound, but he is by far the best fielder of the group, and he puts himself in a pretty good fielding position. But cat-like reflexes, what kind of an athlete that Wainwright is. Same thing can be said about Carpenter, especially if you ever watch him play golf, and Smoltz fits that same mold. But nobody has the cat-like reflexes of Pinheiro.
And that's a strike to Hunter Pence, the right fielder. Hitting .279, 19 home runs. He's driven in 57 this year. Roy Oswalt is getting a start against the Cardinals tonight, the 27th time he has faced St. Louis. Think about that. 27 times we've seen Roy Oswalt.
Well, Roy has been outstanding since he came into the league, I think in 2000. Has 136 wins. That's tops during that time. And, he has a 4-game winning streak going. Every year that he's been in the big leagues, he's had at least a 5-game winning streak, and the Cardinals are trying to keep him from having that again this year.
And here is Lance Berkman, the switch hitter. I talked about how we learned to switch hit at the age of 6 last night. And one of the things his dad did, he hung a tire from a tree and forced his son to swing both ways, right-handed, left-handed. And that's how he developed those forearms, a great swing, and he got in great shape. Once he signed his professional contract, he was a player at Rice University. Good pitch on the outside corner. Nickname is Big Puma. talk about Lance Berkman, who's 5 for 14, a couple of home runs against Pinheiro.
Good success against Pinheiro, which you would expect from this great hitter, but Carlos Lee has even better numbers.
And a 1-1 pitch on the outside corner. Now, we saw Wainwright try to do this with Berkman last night. We noted that he is standing, it looks like to us, a little bit further from the plate than we've seen in the past, and Pinheiro is pounding the outside corner, but yet they'd have the shift, which would make you think he'd pitch him inside.
Pitch him inside, but I like the idea of pitching him away.
Me too. DeRosa near that shortstop position, and Berkman retired. Little line out, couple of ground ball outs, and the Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. The Cardinals are averaging 40,851 a night this season. 2009 here at Busch Stadium. Another gorgeous night for baseball. Schumacher, Rasmus, and Pujols. Holiday, DeRosa, and Keel. Molina, Ryan, and Pinheiro. That's a look at the lineup, and the Cardinals will face 31-year-old Roy Oswalt, one of the best in the business. His 26th start of the season tonight.
They got off to a very slow start, but then really didn't recover for a while. Has had some little nagging injuries like he usually does with his lower legs. But this guy is one of the absolute best, and usually when you get into the second half of the season, he's truly one of the biggest winners in the game.
Yeah, since 2001, coming into the season, he had led all Major League Baseball in wins with 129, and of course we saw him a bunch in postseason play against the Cardinals. Matter of fact, he was the pitcher that shut down the Cardinals in the 2005 NLCS in Game 6, and that was it for the old Busch Stadium. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He works quickly. He's got a good fastball, excellent curveball, and he keeps that same motion as he goes to the plate, and yet the variance in speeds is remarkable.
He has trouble with the groin injury.
Into right field. Pence won't get it off his glove. Schumacher will make the turn around first, and he'll stop there with a base hit. The defense tonight behind Roy Oswalt with Lee, Bourne, and Pence in the outfield. Blum, Tejada, Matsui, and Berkman on the infield. The battery tonight, Roy Oswalt, Chris Coast. Astros defense brought to you by Auto Tire. Are you expecting a low-scoring game? And if so, would you bunt here in the first inning with Colby?
You got to have to consider it because you expect this to be a low-scoring game. But Rasmus giving the green light to swing away the first time.
Well, the Cardinals, the last 15 games here at Busch Stadium against Houston, they are 12-3. Cardinals have really pitched well against the Astros here at home, and they've averaged just about 4.5 runs in those games. 0-1 pitch. Take it a little bit low.
Oswalt not a big guy, and these guys assortment of pitches that he can throw. He has a lot of different ways he can retire you. Whether it's pitches coming in, varying his speed on his breaking balls, but cutters coming in, backdoor.
And a base hit into right on a pitch that was up. Back-to-back singles, and here comes Albert. Pujols against Roy Oswalt in our Toyota Keys to the Game. At bats, 76, 23 hits, that's second most, 5 home runs. He had a grand slam earlier against Roy, and 13 RBIs. So our key to the game is for Houston trying to shut down Albert. Albert trying to come alive for the Cardinals.
Oswalt 0 for 1 this year against the Cardinals, but Albert has been very quiet against the Astros this season. They have really contained him.
And yet last night he drove in the only run in the game, and in his 9-year career that was only the second time that Pujols has done that, where he's driven in the only run.
Just very important that you may not get another opportunity against Oswalt, so cash in now.
Just like that, it's 0-2. Roy Oswalt will not back down from anybody, and that includes Albert Pujols.
Absolutely. He's going to come right at you. He's not a real big guy. He's listed generously at 6 foot 185, and that might be a little bit exaggerated on both ends, height and weight.
Time is called. 0-2 the count. We're just underway here in St. Louis. Cardinals half of the first. Runners at first and second. Nobody out for Albert Pujols, and Chris Coast wants to talk it over here with Roy Oswalt.
His 9 wins against the Cardinals is second most by any National League pitcher. Zambrano has 10.
If you're traveling and can't catch us on our TV broadcast, catch all the action on your computer at MLB.tv. Find out more at STLCardinals.com. That's where baseball is always on. Pujols looks at a called third strike on the outside corner. 3 pitches, and Oswalt carved him up.
In this game, Albert's only batting .152, 5 for 33 against the Astros pitching staff, and he just got lowered. Perfect pitch. Is right on the block.
Matt Holliday, one of the best in baseball this year in first innings, hitting close to 400 in first innings this year, both in his time with Oakland and here in St. Louis. Overall this year, hitting .311 with the Cardinals at .387. Holliday on the first pitch hits it out of play and foul. Matt Holliday, his career against Roy Oswalt, 5 for 15. Initially, Jeff Blum was in the lineup. Up the middle, base hit. Schumacher being waved in. 1-0 Cardinals. Matt Holliday, his 28th RBI. A rocket off his bat. Matsui couldn't get to it. Went into center field, and Schumacher scores the first run of the night.
Matsui had alligator arms there. He didn't want to get in front of that line drive, but set up inside. It's out over the middle of the plate, right back at Oswalt. And watch your second baseman, because he didn't want to take more than just half a step to get in front of that one. He couldn't have gotten to it, but that was another rocket off the bat of Holliday, and the Cardinals with that quick lead.
Pitch inside to DeRosa. I was about to say that Jeff Blum initially in the lineup for Cecil Cooper, but it's Jeff Keppinger who's now the third baseman. Cardinals trying to move to 20 games above 500 with a win tonight. They're 73-54. And the Cardinals in 10 games against Houston. Tony La Russa has seen his squad go 6-4, but 8 of those games have been decided by 3 runs or under 3 runs.
They got swept. The Cardinals got swept in Houston. They have dominated here at home. You just got to keep on putting the pressure on Oswalt.
And Washington has jumped out to a 1-0 lead at Wrigley Field in the bottom of the first.
I don't know about you, but I love to watch the scoreboard.
I do now. Absolutely. I thought it was interesting what Tony said the other night, where, even when his team loses, he's taking a look at that scoreboard because he says it's another game off the schedule, and you watch what Chicago and Milwaukee and Houston, what they're doing. In the left center field, that will get down. With 2 strikes, DeRosa makes him pay. Rasmus scores. Holiday being waved in. Relay to the plate. He is saved. DeRosa makes it 3-0 Cardinals here in the first against Roy Oswalt.
Cardinal offense has been a bit quiet on the 5-2 road trip and then the 1-0 victory last night, but you know this team is capable of exploding. It's just the great pitching the Cardinals have had, and we can continue the great pitching and then have this lineup have a little fun of its own. You know, then you've got that combination. And I for one, I'll ask you, I don't think this team really has gelled even with the newcomers coming.
I totally agree. And we've seen maybe out of the 4 big guys, you know, 2 one night, 2 the next night, but really we haven't seen it all clicking with all cylinders going with this offense. And as you mentioned, Al, you're right on 100%, it is the pitching that's really gotten this team into this situation.
And we always talk, you know, pitching dictates the pace of the game or sets a tone. And if you can have the starting pitcher just go out there, especially put down a 0, and then when you take the mound the next time, you already got a lead to work with. You know, that's when it makes it fun. And because of the depth of this lineup, the pitchers go out there with a lot less pressure.
Little ground ball hit to second base. Matsui with it. And that's out number 2.
How many times we talk about a pitcher feeling like that he's just got to be perfect. He's got to be perfect. But now with Holiday and the other guys can kind of relax a little bit, don't have to really shoulder the load. Now a starting pitcher knows that he has a margin for error, goes out there, relax, and usually shuts down the opposition.
You may have seen that shot at the beginning of our telecast with the Clydesdales here at Busch Stadium. That was tonight. David Peacock, the president of Anheuser-Busch, wrote a check along with his colleagues for $2 million to the United Way. So well done by Anheuser-Busch, and congratulations to United Way. Sizable check, and David was on our pregame show with Jim Hayes, and well done by the folks at AB.
Great leadership under David Peacock.
And you never get sick of seeing the Clydesdales.
No,
Standing ovation from the folks here at Busch Stadium. Little chopper to Kaz Matsui. Cardinals' big first inning as Piñeiro's been given a 3-run lead. Carlos Lee leads it off when we come back. Midwest. So the Cardinals pick up an RBI, the first of the night for Matt Holliday, 2 from DeRosa, 3-0 St. Louis here in the second inning. Well, you like that start?
Well, I'd like that start because I was preparing a little doomsday for Pat Paris.
Why Pat?
Well, because I'm assuming Pat invited a young lady from Belleville and very proud, one of our American heroes, but an astronaut. And
that's a base hit up the middle.
She was on the pregame show, and of course, remember in Houston, the Astros wore NASA hats, and they swept the Cardinals. So I was hoping that was not going to be a bad omen. And in the pregame show, we also, or in the open, we highlighted that Lee has had success against Pinheiro, but you don't worry about that because it was a ground ball base hit that found a hole.
And Carlos Lee now is 12 for 27 against Pinheiro. And here's Miguel Tejada, 10 home runs. He's driven in 69. He was an all-star this year. Boy, Pinheiro's been so good. And when you talk to Dave Duncan, it is more than just the sinker. They feel that he's really been able to locate those secondary pitches to keep everybody off balance.
But everything is set up by your fastball. In his case, it's a two-seam fastball with tremendous sinking action, and he's been able to keep it down.
And this one is hit into center field. Colby Rasmus there with a rare fly ball out.
Well, in that case, the ball was up a little bit, but it was on the inner part of the plate, so he couldn't put a good wood on it.
This will be Jeff Keppinger.
And you try and keep the ball out of the middle of the plate, and you see Mrs. Location is Molina set up away, but it was enough inside to where he gets more of the handle and not the sweet part of the bat.
Well, it's been a frustrating year for Houston, but something that is of a bright note will happen on Friday in Arizona. Apparently Aaron Boone will rejoin the team after open heart surgery. The 36-year-old will come back and play in the major leagues for the remainder of this season. That's great news.
I saw that.
I don't know if you've ever really talked to him, Al. He's a tremendous guy, too.
I knew, I know obviously their father, Bob Boone, best, and then I knew his brother.
This could be two. Out there on the first, double play. Nifty move there by Brendan Ryan. Wasn't sure who was covering second. Double play.
Schumacher.
What's amazing is Brendan Ryan takes a ball low. Adam Wainwright has the longest current stretch of pitching, 6 innings or more. As Dave Duncan is visiting now with John Smoltz, he's 3 behind Chris Carpenter's 28 straight in 2005. And I know this won't surprise you, but for some it may. Cardinals Hall of Famer Bob Gibson had 3 streaks that were longer than the current one right now by Wainwright, including one of 58 straight. 58 straight.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Probably 68, the entire 68 season, and
Ground ball hit to Tejada. Makes the play. That was a nifty double play turned by Brendan Ryan, wasn't it?
I wasn't sure, you know, it looked like Schumacher was covering and Brendan was backing up, and the throw was a little bit wide of Schumacher, and Brendan Ryan caught the ball, stepped on the bag, and completed the throw to first.
Congratulations to Jamie Jarrett. Jamie, a former Cardinal employee, now working with the Missouri Valley Conference, as he was married over the weekend to Alyssa Brandt, assistant athletic director at Quincy University. Congratulations to those two. Jamie, one of the fine people in our community here at St. Louis, as Pinheiro is out number 2.
Look out for Oswald. Remember, it's a great story about Oswald. After the season of '99, he was pitching in the Midwest League playoffs. He could barely lift his arm above his head, and that winter, before seeing a doctor, he was fixing his pickup truck and was shocked by an exposed wire. And when he came to his senses, his arm was pain-free.
Went to spring training, and I've talked to him about it. He said he went back after that year. He wasn't sure what to expect, and he said, "I've never felt better." He got shocked. That pitch is on the outside corner, 0-2. And the speculation, as he has explained it, is that that shock in his arm probably knocked out built up scar tissue and loosened it up, and more flexibility, and felt a lot better. Schumacher 1 for 2 on the night. That sends us to the third. It's 3-0. Adoption centers are available 7 days a week in every PetSmart store. And if you're thinking about welcoming a loving dog or cat into your home, visit a PetSmart store. For more information about Purina Pro Plan, support for adoptable pets, visit PetSmartCharities.org. And Trevor Miller was helping out. That's inside Tony La Russa's office. You can bet that Trevor will pitch tonight.
He'll get to sign the lineup card even if he doesn't pitch.
Here is Kaz Matsui. And what you're talking about is that what Tony will do, he'll take his lineup card that's posted inside that dugout right now. And for some of the players that have a big game, Tony remembers, it seems like every game, that he'll have the players sign if they had a big game. For instance, Mark DeRosa, right now, if the game ended, Mark DeRosa be signing that scorecard along with Joel Pinheiro and Matt Holliday, and then he'll auction off those scorecards for his foundation. Let's hit out of play. Kaz Matsui, Chris Coast, and Roy Oswald.
Matsui's struggling, only 4 for his last 35.
2-2 pitch.
As we mentioned last night, he became the 5th Japanese player to reached the 2,000 hit mark, combined career hits between the major leagues and Japan.
Two-two pitch. Ground ball hit to Brendan Ryan. He'll charge, throws, and makes the play. Talked to some of the players today, and they are just raving about the defense of their teammate Brendan Ryan. And they also talked about the soft hands of Albert Pujols over at first, and Albert really bailed out Brendan Ryan late in the ballgame last night.
They did, definitely picked him up with, that was the 9th inning. Ground ball to him and short hopped Albert, and he made a nifty scoop. And you see Albert with the back of his wrist, the Rawlings Gold Glove. If you're a Gold Glove recipient, and watch these soft hands right there as he comes up with short hop. But on the back of his Rawlings glove, it is gold, signifying that he's a former Gold Glove winner. Right there. A nice touch.
Up and into Coast. Last time we saw Houston, he was over at first base.
There's Yachty, his patch, signifying the gold that he won last year from Rawlings.
And a 2-1 pitch to Coast. Backhanded by Pujols, right on cue. Pinheiro covering over at first, another ground ball out.
So far, so good. You know, when Pinheiro's getting these ground balls like this, it's a fun night. Very efficient. You know, the defense is exceptional because they're on their toes, not wasting any time. Everybody has fun when there's ground ball outs, except for the outfielders. They're only working on their hitting out there.
And here is Oswald with 2 outs. 3-0 Cardinals, right down the middle, strike one. Strike two. Cardinals will have Colby Rasmus, Albert Pujols, and Matt Holliday coming up. Pinheiro wasting no time. He pitched a gem against Houston back in the first month of the season here at Busch Stadium. Goodbye. And he has his first strikeout. Some big bats coming up. It's 3-0. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by the Casino Queen Hotel and Casino, home of the Losers Slots.
Fellow hunky Mike is Hungarian. He's follically challenged.
and you still have your hair.
Yeah, I got on my hair.
I'm sure Mike appreciates that.
Well, he spent 20 minutes combing it and forgot to bring it.
And that's a ball on the outside corner, and it's 2-1. And a swing and a miss. 2-2.
How many times we talk about exceptional pitchers, and Oswald's in that category, that don't let them settle in. You got a scoring opportunity, you got to make the most of it, because they can shut you down once they get into a groove.
Pujols on deck, and Oswald is throwing nothing but fastballs here to Colby. And this one is hit out to left center. One is over, but it'll be Carlos Lee to make the catch. Attention high school students and guidance counselors. The Cardinals are hosting the 5th annual Career Day, Wednesday, September 16th, against the Florida Marlins. And prior to the game, be a program featuring a Cardinals executive, current and former players, giving details on careers in sports. For more information, number to call 314-345-9500. One of those guys that will be part of the Career Day will be Kerry Robinson.
Really?
Kerry Robinson will be part of Career Day. Once again, Andy Benes will be part of that. Lo and behold, Kerry Robinson is in the booth with us. 0-1 pitch. Good piece of hitting right up the middle. Oswald just puts up his hands as if to say, what can I do?
Well, he better not be looking for help up from his second baseman or shortstop, because that went right back over the mountain.
And this is our Hot Shots Exmo Cam, brought to you by Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill. And Oswald right now is talking with Tejada.
Well, how can he be mad at them? It went right over the rubber. Unless he thought defensively Tejada was going to be standing behind the second base bag.
My initial thought was pretty good pitch, and Pujols,
yeah, I mean, and
good
really,
job of hitting to take it right up the middle.
Yeah, he just made contact. Really didn't have, just really had that contact swing. Not trying to swing hard or anything. But we'll see where Tejada is. He's playing way over the hole, but there's no way he's going to catch this ball, even if he was a little bit closer, right over the mound.
And now the only thing,
what happened with the pitcher covering?
The only thing I can think of was that pitch, as Holiday flies to center, was on the outside portion of the plate, and I don't think Bourne could see it. And Pence makes a diving catch, throws it into first, and it's a double play. Bourne lost it. Pence comes up with a diving catch and a double play. 3-0 after 3. catch made by Hunter Pence.
This type of night, it's really the lights have not taken effect, so it's always important when a fly ball goes up like that for the infielders, the middle infielders, to help out the outfielders. And in outfield, that's the first thing you do. You put your hands in the air to tell everybody that you do not know where it is. Albert halfway, reading and observing the look of Bourne, strays too far off as Pence makes the circus catch and doubles him off.
And it's now 2 balls and a strike. Boy, we've had a nice pace to the game last night and again tonight, where the pitchers work quickly, they throw strikes, and the umpires are a big part of the equation too, where they actually call a fair strike zone. There's a liner and a base hit into left field from Michael Bourne. That's part of it, isn't it?
Absolutely. But you got guys that go out there, throw strikes, they're working quick, and hopefully the umpires are looking for strikes.
Everything you knew about fantasy football is about to change. Introducing the all-new Fox Fantasy Football with more customized features and new ways to play. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN and join the next generation of fantasy football. Home plate umpire tonight, Dana DeMuth. Here's Hunter Pence with that heads-up play.
These two teams are tied for the most double plays in the National League. Each have one tonight.
Well, we at Fox Sports Midwest certainly appreciate all the fans tuning in. The Cardinals are playing great baseball, and we had outstanding numbers last night concerning our ratings, as a lot of people watching these games and coming down to the ballpark.
Record numbers last night, but the entire road trip on the West Coast was heavily viewed.
No balls and 1 strike, is by the end of the game last night we nearly had an 18,
right,
which is an unbelievable rating when you talk about cable and you talk about a sporting event. We appreciate all the folks that tune in to Fox Sports Midwest. Good pitch and on the hands of Pence, who has seen from Wainwright and Carpenter out a ton of curveballs, but in this scenario now, what's in the back of his mind, knowing what the other two have done? And then you look at Pinheiro, who's got that very good sinker.
And Pence is in an 0 for 12 streak. It's the second longest streak of his career.
And an 0-2 pitch. They set up inside, and that's a base hit. A rare 0-2 mistake. Bourne will make the turnaround second and stops there.
Tried to go inside and he got it in there, but Pence, give him some credit. He muscled it through the infield.
Chokes up too with 2 strikes. This is our Radio Shack. What do you know? Stan the Man made his one and only pitching appearance in 1952. He pitched to only one Cubs batter who reached on an error. Stan had time on the mound prior to becoming one of the great hitters of all time.
Yeah, he signed as a pitcher.
Runners at first and second. A couple of singles, and here is Berkman. He could tie this up with 1 swing of the bat. Berkman, first time up, grounded out to short. This is where Pinheiro needs that ground ball and gets a double play. He gets the ground ball. Will he get the double play? It's a base hit past Schumacher into center field. So it gets past Schumacher, then past Brendan Ryan into center field. Little seeing eye base hit. And Houston on the board.
You see where Brendan Ryan is, so close to second, trying to keep that runner close. And then Schumacher, the ball bounced up here. And it looked like Schumacher gave up on it awful quickly. And I'm not sure he could have gotten to it. The only thing he could have done was maybe stop it from going to the outfield and save a run.
And still nobody out. Here's Carlos Lee, who singled in the second inning.
Remember, he's the nemesis for Pinheiro.
12 hits in his career against Pinheiro. Pretty good pitch, called a ball. Houston is under 500 at 61 and 64 this year.
Really been struggling on the road too.
1-0 pitch, and Lee hits it left side, base hit. So 4 base hits. And they're finding holes here against this Cardinals defense. Another ground ball, and Lee is 2 for 2, and that makes it a 3-2 Cardinals lead. Let's go pitch by pitch in this at bat. Only 2 pitches here to Carlos Lee.
He starts him out with a fastball, trying to be outside. Pretty good pitch there, doesn't get the call. And then comes back, and this one in the middle of the plate, bounces through the left side, and for an RBI single, Lee 2 for 2 with his 81st RBI.
Very frustrating there, no doubt. He's getting the ground balls, but you've talked about it time and again. You know, ground balls many times will find holes.
Yeah, you know, you're out there trying to get a ground ball, and you know, if you're a scout judging him, you can't give him a bad grade because he got what he was looking for. He just found a hole.
Runners at first and second, and nobody out. 3-2 Cardinals here in the top of the 4th. The next from Joel Pinheiro. Pulled foul off the bat of Tejada, who will be a free agent after this season.
I remember one time a lot of people were interested Cardinal players were interested in Tejada.
At that time they were just interested in trying to get some bats in this lineup, as Pujols in many ways carried the team in the first half. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the next to Miguel Tejada, who's hitting .307. Back to Pinheiro, double play ball out there on to first, double play. So the Cardinals turn the 1-4-3 double play, and their second started by Pinheiro tonight. That's big there.
It'll be bigger as you can get Keppinger to make the final out of the inning. Set up away. This ground ball right back to him. This time he hits the second baseman covering, and wasn't even close over to first. So 2 double plays turned already here tonight by the Redbirds.
Keppinger grounded into a 1-6-3 double play. I don't know if you saw it the other day that Eric Brutledge started the
triple play,
unassisted triple play
to end the game.
To end the game. Only second time in baseball history that's happened, and it happened against the Mets.
And it preserved the victory for Pedro. What, he's 2-0 and the team is 3-0 in his starts.
And Cliff Lee has been a huge addition, obviously, to the Phillies. A lot of people believe the Phillies would be the team to beat in the National League. Pinheiro again. Over to Albert. Houston strands their first runner, but they pick up their first run since 3-2. Fox Saturday Baseball this weekend, 4 Eastern, 3 Central on Fox. It's the Mets and the Cubs. Fox Saturday Baseball this weekend.
And the Cubs have regained the lead as it's 2-1 over Washington, batting in the bottom of the 3rd.
This climb through the Central for the Cardinals truly has been an amazing run here in the last month or so, where the Cardinals was nip and tuck for first place, and all of a sudden now you look up, they're 9 games in front, the largest lead of any division leader, and DeRosa is 2 for 2. I mean, it happened quick.
Yeah, the Cardinals just kind of caught fire, and you know, if the Cardinals had a rare loss, the Cubs lost on top of it.
Now I want to tell folks about a wonderful charity that people can get involved with. It's Places for People. They'll have their 7th annual charity golf tournament at the Missouri Bluffs in St. Charles on Saturday, or rather September 25th. September 25th. And Kiel fouls it back. In Places for People, it helps adults with serious mental disorders, gives them places to live, places to work. Really helps out a lot of folks here in the community, and it's a wonderful cause. They are nearly sold out. So if you'd like to be a part of that, placesforpeople.org to sign up, or the number to call 314-535-2310, 314-535-2310, or placesforpeople.org. 2 balls and 1 strike, but really a great cause, and hopefully folks will take part in that September 25th at the Missouri Bluffs.
Center fielder straight away, sitting on top of the arch.
I hope they keep that for next year.
Yeah, I do like it.
I think for teams that come in, it's a nice showcase of the city just a little bit. You know, you had the old courthouse for a while in that grass, and also the arch, but I'd like to see it. Nice little wrinkle to the field.
The arch is probably a little easier to mow into it than the old courthouse.
Bourne coming on. He's got a long way to come in. Matsui going out, and the second baseman will make the catch. North Stars making this Sunday extra special Ice Cream Sundays. That'll be in the Ford Plaza. Music, fun, games. Don't forget the free ice cream while supplies last, and that will be this Sunday against the Washington Nationals. There's also seats remaining for the Adam Wainwright Bobblehead Day, which is Sunday, and it's also a family Sunday. You can purchase a terrace or pavilion reserved seat and get the free hot dog and soda. So some nice giveaways all weekend long here at the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, Washington is down in the standings, but they do have some pretty attractive players. A lot of their young pitchers have been shut down, but Zimmerman is outstanding.
They have picked up Livan Hernandez. There's a base hit into right. And one of the reasons they have is to try to take some of the innings away from the young starters that they have.
Right. They kind of made the commitment. They had a bunch of young pitchers, rookie years. They're going to try and keep their pitch count or innings to around 150.
Well, this is a nice piece of hitting here from Molina.
Set up outside. Little slider or cutter out there, and just goes with the pitch. Plunks it into right field, and let's see if the Cardinals can't respond, get a couple of those runs back.
36 hits to right, more than left. I believe that graphic said 27 to left and 36 to right.
And 50 plus up to center.
And yet we see most teams play him straight up.
There are some that play him that way, but you know, it reminds me of how many people may defensively play someone one way and pitch him the opposite.
And Al, you know, getting overlooked in this lineup, Brendan Ryan and Molina, and both these guys right around that 300 mark.
Yeah. Molina's now at 290. Ryan is now at 296. Yachty hit 300 last year, and Brendan Ryan's just having a phenomenal breakthrough season.
And Brendan is hit by the pitch, so the bases are loaded. Bush Bash All-Star Fridays feature prizes, live music, and a Cardinals player. This season, each Friday game will feature a former Major League All-Star. This Friday, 2-time Major League Baseball All-Star, 95 Cardinals All-Star closer Tom Hankey. He'll make the trek from Jeff City right here to St. Louis from 5:30 to 6:30. First 200 people in line guaranteed to get Tom Hankey's autograph. Find out more at STLCardinals.com. And that is also a half-price night this Friday.
And Tom Hankey has his golf tournament the same day you have yours. October 12th?
Yes. Monday, October 12th.
I have to tell you what day it is. That'll wait.
Think about it there, Al. Caught me off guard.
You've got so many things in your mind and so many good charitable endeavors, you can't even remember your own tournament.
We have a lot of fun. It's a wonderful cause. So bases loaded, one out here for Joel Pinheiro. Time is called.
Tom's is in Jeff City.
Well, he was so good with the Cardinals that 1 year.
1 year he was outstanding. They have only blown 1, 2 at the most save opportunities, and he still had a lot of left in the tank if he wanted to, but such a great family man, and that's, he helps out. He has a child with a learning disability, and that's, I think, what his golf tournament supports. But what a class act he was.
Nice man.
Very nice.
1-2 the count here on Pinheiro.
Pinheiro's a guy you can do a lot of things with, but the best way for the Astros to counteract anything Tony might want to put on is to throw strikes, and the 2 strikes, it kind of you think that they're going to let him swing away.
Oswalt steps off the rubber and now addresses it again. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bases loaded for the Cardinals, leading 3-2 here in the 4th. 2-2.
About Oswalt, when he is right, he walks very few, and he is a strikeout pitcher. So even though there's 1 out, it's a pretty good chance he can keep Pinheiro from getting the sacrifice fly or a base hit.
2-2. Inside to Pinheiro. So bases loaded with 1 out. Fans here in St. Louis come alive.
If you're a pitcher, you still have to believe, even if it's a fastball situation, you got to believe that you can throw this fastball by any pitcher.
A 3-2, and he did. Pinheiro may have chased a ball too.
But that's one of the weapons that Oswalt has, is he will throw pitches up in the zone, and that pitch right there is his pitch. If you swing at it, you're either going to pop it up or you're going to swing and miss. But it looks so good because it's up above or around the eye level.
Out to visit Coast. Doesn't seem like those two have really been on the same page all that much tonight, does it?
It's a good point, because sometimes you'll get a guy out there and you know he's out there trying to help you, but you may be so accustomed with either Pudge Rodriguez or Quintero that maybe you just aren't on the same page. Coast hadn't been with this ball club that long.
Schumacher takes a breaking ball and a strike. That's a good example right there of how Oswalt kind of explodes to the plate, and yet that pitch at 75.
Yeah, that curveball, you see him explode like he's throwing the fastball, but yet it just kind of lollipops up there and get ahead with a slow breaking ball.
It's spoiled, and it's now 0-2. That pitch at 93.
And it's really the same delivery as that 93-mile-an-hour fastball. So there's a great variance. If you're looking for the 75-mile-an-hour curveball, you can't catch up to the fastball.
Oswalt is from Mississippi, pitching in his 8th major league season. 3rd year of a 5-year contract. And hit sharply to first. Berkman to Oswalt, covering the bag at first. And the Cardinals strand. The base is loaded. They've left 4 on tonight. We move to the 5th. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Kaz Matsui, from Osaka, Japan, will lead it off for the Astros here in the top of the fifth. 3-2 Cardinals. Breaking ball in there for the strike. First Japanese position player in Astros history.
Very good defensively for them.
Yeah, he was a 7-time All-Star over in Japan and a 7-time member of Japan's best 9. MVP back in '98. 4 Gold Gloves over there as well. The 1-1 pitch. Liner to Brendan Ryan for the first out. And it brings in Chris Coast. Have you read his book yet?
Coast, no.
He's got 2 books out. One was detailing his life in independent baseball, and then he made it to the major leagues in his mid-30s. Took him all that time, and had the chance to visit with him about his books and life after baseball. He said, they're going to have to tear the jersey off me. I'm having so much fun playing now in the major leagues, and always have had fun, but he said, once my playing career is through, being a former catcher, asking questions, I want to coach, I want to manage.
I put on waivers from Philadelphia, and corresponding with the time when Berkman was out with his calf injury. So this is only his 4th start as a catcher, and he made 13 starts at first base.
From Fargo, North Dakota.
Maybe another reason why he and Oswalt are trying to get together.
That's what I was thinking. His first book was Hey, I'm Just the Catcher. His second book, The 33-Year-Old Rookie. 11 years in the minor leagues. Neat story.
First came on the scene, he had a big game against the Cardinals in Philadelphia.
2-2. You think about what it means to make it into postseason play and win a World Series championship. You dream about it as a kid, but for some, it's probably a little bit extra special than others.
Especially after 11 years
you bet.
On the buses.
3-2. And a swing and a miss. So 2 strikeouts for Pinheiro. Let's turn to our This Date in Baseball History. Back in 1966, brought to you by Schnucks. After seeing a caricature of himself on the Astrodome scoreboard, Leo DeRocher calls the press box to have it removed. When nothing is done, the Cubs manager rips out the phone in the dugout, tosses it on the field. You wouldn't do anything like that, Al. Nice, calm, cool, and collected.
I'm still contemplating what I would have done.
Ground ball hit left side. DeRosa to his left, settles and throws. Makes the play.
I would have given tickets to the artist.
I'm sure. Rasmus Pujols holiday coming up. Moeller is 8-9, but we've seen now where Brian Moeller has been one of the toughest pitchers against the Cardinals.
He's 5-0. 5-0 against the Cardinals. But he'll have his match tomorrow against Mr. Carpenter. It's like the Cardinals have a match here against Oswald.
And last night's victory, the score of 1-0 for the Cardinals since 2006 at Colorado, of all places. Chris Carpenter was involved in that game along with Randy Flores and Jason Isringhausen. Jason Jennings, you might remember in that game, pitched a complete game against the Cardinals. The Redbirds won it 1-0. Colby first pitch and another fastball from Oswald. Interesting to see how he's gone right at the rookie.
I don't see enough pitchers throwing enough fastballs. Still the best pitch in the game. You could make it more than one pitch by, location, in and out, up and down, and there's that slow breaking ball, 64 miles an hour this time.
Oswald from Ware, Mississippi, town of 550 people. He had never been on a plane until he signed with Houston. Little jam shot and popped up to Tejada as he was signed back in 1996. And has turned out to be one of the great pitchers in the game. And he received a bulldozer as a gift from Astros owner Drayton McClain after winning Game 6 against the Cardinals in 05. Now his contract had it in there. It had to be reworked to include the gift. First ever bulldozer clause in a player's contract, and he has a 1,000-acre ranch in Mississippi. Builds lakes, wanted a bulldozer, and he got it.
They just don't pay these guys enough.
Pujols rips it down the left field line. Good to see him turn on that pitch. Pops off the wall. Carlos Lee will get it back in. And a double for Albert. It's a two-hit night for Pujols.
Now, maybe you don't want to throw too many fastballs to Albert Pujols, but
you're saying you got to be selective.
Yeah, you got to pick the guys, and you definitely better make sure you got good location. So quick with his hands, he trusts his hands that he can get through the hitting zone, and so many times you watch Albert hit a ball like that in the corner, where that same pitch to a lesser hitter, they'll hit it so far foul. But he has that ability to keep pitches inside instead of hitting foul, hit them still inside the fair part of the ballpark, and obviously an extra base hit.
Exmo camera brought to you by Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill. Here is Holiday, and that pitch is taken inside. Of course, Hot Shots located one block south of the ballpark on
Broadway, isn't it?
Yeah, right down the street.
Yeah.
Or your fantasy draft parties can be held at Hot Shots. And a 1-0 pitch to Holiday. On the outside corner, 1-1 strike.
By the way, I saw John Ronzik's son yesterday, and
John
Jr., and he told me his father is feeling much, much better. And that's good news. Our good friend, formerly with Auto Tire.
And that's hit out of play. John was under the weather, to say the least, and good news that he's feeling better. One ball and two strikes. Big Cardinal fan, Courtney Rowan. We know she's watching tonight. And best wishes to her. That's fouled back. Just missed it. See, that was a pitch that he can drive right there.
Good pitchers, they can keep good hitters from centering the ball, too. Always admired Oswalt and the way he attacks hitters. There's a lot of hitters too. I mean, they'll sit there and they know how tough he is, but they respect him because he goes right after them.
Backing away, and that just missed.
60 miles an hour. And he throws that 92, 93, fastball, but then he'll throw that breaking ball with almost the same arm action. Kind of jumps at you, but the ball just kind of oozes out there.
And a chopper hit to the third baseman. Keppinger makes the play out there. Pujols to third. How about that? Base running by Albert Pujols. Risky, but it pays off.
Well, we've seen Albert, and at times he'll get a little bit reckless on the base pass, but more times than not, he will make a sensational decision like this. Going back, didn't really look him back all the way to second base, so when the throw goes to first, he turns it on and gets over into third base. 2 outs, but there's a lot of different ways you can score from third, and right now DeRosa's a hot hitter.
You advance like that, you never know. Wild pitch.
Wild pitch.
Fastball. And DeRosa hit by the pitch, and that's the second that Oswalt has hit tonight. DeRosa says he's fine to Barry Weinberg, the Cardinal trainer.
I'm fine, I just can't feel it. It's like on the left elbow, the lead elbow, and or right above it, but I think it's getting right on that elbow where you just lose all feeling.
Remember, DeRosa 2 for 2 tonight.
Yep.
And so Oswalt trying to go in on Mark DeRosa and hits him. So third time he's been on base, and it brings in Ricky Ankiel.
You just, that's a tough place to get hit. First thing, your arm goes totally numb. And you start slowly getting a little feeling back in there.
You can see the stitching of the elbow right there, the stitching of the baseball.
Well, let's see if you see Bud Selig.
I don't see that, but I definitely see stitching. So runners at first and third with 2 outs.
Not a lot of muscle or tissue right there. It's just mostly bone.
Off speed pitch and a strike to Rick Ankiel.
Rick has to step up here and make him pay.
It's grounded to second and popped out to second. 0-1 pitch to Ankiel. Fastball misses outside at 93. 1 ball, 1 strike. It is amazing to see him at 6 foot, 185 pounds, and yet consistently late in games, Roy Oswalt is throwing in the mid-90s. Great leg drive, and he's talked about that being a real key to his success. 1-1 pitch.
Now he's had a lot of trouble with the groin injuries and pulls because he uses his leg, and you know, for a guy that's 6 foot, listed as 6 foot, he almost has the stride of someone that is like a Wainwright height, 6'7". And he really strides out there and uses those legs and gets full benefit of that body.
The 2-1. 3-1. Molina on deck.
One of the reasons why Houston usually gets off their slow start is that's the MO of Oswalt. He and Berkman are the 2 biggest cogs in this team, you know, from a pitching and a hitting standpoint. They get off the slow starts and really kind of buries the ball club, but in the second half they come alive.
A 3-1 pitch now to Rick Ankiel. Here he comes, and he walked him. So he's hit 2 tonight, and that's his first walk that he's allowed. And the Cardinals, for the second time tonight, have the bases loaded. Pujols started the inning with the Cardinals on the bases with a double. DeRosa hit by a pitch, a walk to Ricky Ankiel. And now it's a chance for Molina to add to the Cardinal lead.
I don't know about you, Dan, but I would much rather have Molina up in this situation than Ankiel.
I'm with you, and I just, you know, the one thing that stands out to me is Yachty is going to shoot it into play.
Doesn't strike out much. You know,
that's what I like about it.
Takes that ability where, you know, he'll hit it to the opposite field or hit the ball where it's pitched. You know, like most hitters, if you make your good pitches, you got a great chance to get him out. But you know, he will put the ball in play. When you put the ball in play, good things can happen.
1-0 pitch. Here it comes. Upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes. We've also seen him. Another reason I like him in this spot is that he's fairly patient, doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes, but very selective here with the bases loaded.
Well, he has that good eye. You know, times Ankiel doesn't have a good grasp of the strike zone.
Molina hits it sharply, but to short on a forced play at second. So he hit it hard, but to the shortstop, Tejada. Cardinals strand the bases loaded again. Base by the Cardinals tonight. Here's Michael Bourne, who has singled and scored. That was back in the fourth when the Astros had 4 consecutive singles and got on the board to make it a 3-2 game. Watching tonight, Stan Boraz, who is at St. Luke's Rehab Center and recovering from a bad infection. Big Cardinal fan, doesn't miss a game, and we wish Stan nothing but the best. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Bourne. On the outside corner and a strike 1-2. Bourne here, Hunter Pence on deck, and then Lance Berkman. On the outside corner and a strikeout of Bourne. Third of the night for Joel Pinheiro. Looks like Bourne was ready for the sinker, and he had a couple of breaking balls in that at bat.
You see, he set up away, and just that little slider or cutter on the outside backdoors it, and the hitter gives up on. That's good to see, because this is a combination: Bourne, Hunter Pence, Berkman, and Carlos Lee that all led off the fourth inning with base hits.
Hunter Pence is lined out, singled and scored. Don't forget, tomorrow is a day game on the air at 12:30. Pre-game show. Grounder left side, moving. Brendan Ryan makes the play.
Great range as he gobbles that ball up the middle.
Well, don't forget
about
gobbled
to bobble.
There you Nice segue, Al. Our bobblehead is this Sunday, and that's Adam Wainwright. 25,000 fans receive an action-posed bobblehead of Adam Wainwright. Tickets are still available for this Sunday. Adam Wainwright Bobblehead Day, presented by Train. Visit stlouiscardinals.com, stlcardinals.com for tickets. And again, you have the Ice Cream Sunday, the giveaway, the Adam Wainwright Bobblehead, and also it's a family Sunday. Free hot dog and soda with the purchase of a ticket. Past DeRosa, the shift was on, and you can see a couple of times now that Berkman just trying to go to left field with it, and that time successfully with a base hit with 2 outs.
First one he hit like straightaway shortstop that DeRosa got to. Then he hit one up the middle that nobody could get to, and the same there as DeRosa was a rapid charge but came up a little short as Berkman beat the shift. I think good hitters, they do survey the field, and Sometimes you wonder why more hitters don't.
It's 2 outs and a runner at first. And a strike to Carlos Lee. You can see where the catcher Molina set up on the outside portion of the plate. Missed his spot inside, but Lee was not swinging. Strike one. He's 2 for 2 tonight. That now makes him 13 for 28 in his career against Pinheiro. 1 pitch. In the air to center field. Colby under it. Midway through 6. And the Cardinals have themselves a 3-2 lead. Wins leader among pitchers.
Well, Oswald's third, and the chance to tie for second.
So Niekro, Larry Dierker, their former manager, and Roy Oswald is just one behind Larry Dierker. Before it's all said and done, he'll be number 1.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Mentioned since 2001, number 1 in wins in the major leagues. Roy Oswald signed a 5-year, $75 million contract on his 29th birthday. Back in 2006. Great competitor, great pitcher. Talk about him being a fantastic teammate as well. Little chopper up the middle, and Tejada can't get it out of the glove, and Brendan Ryan is safe diving into first.
I don't know if you saw it, Dan, but I think he lost the handle of it, but Matsui, the second baseman, was right there, and if he kind of flipped it to him, or if it just popped out and it goes right to, it goes right to his second baseman, and Matsui thought about it, but
nifty play.
Brendan always hustling.
Brendan was diving into the bag at first base. And so it's a leadoff base hit. Here's Pinheiro. Let's see if the Cardinals want to bunt here. Pinheiro has struck out with the bases loaded on a 3-2 pitch and also popped out to short. Six sacrifices this season. Oswald his pitch count at 84.
Usually does the little things to help himself. And what I mean by that is getting the bunt down, fielder's position, little things to help yourself win. At that time, didn't have the bat in fair territory. Now Kendall will talk to him a little bit.
Cincinnati, top of the 5th, leading Milwaukee 2-0, and in Washington has tied it up 2-2 with the Cubbies. That's in the bottom of the 5th. Phillies and Pittsburgh 1-1, top of the 10th. One of the real key games in baseball. Top of the 4th, LA leads Colorado. The bunt to Oswald, who slips. Throws to first. Matsui, a nice pick. And Oswald looking back at the turf where he slipped, and he's all right, it looks like. Talk about those leg injuries. That's one way to do it right there. St. Louis Cardinals, the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, and Fox Sports Midwest have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe easier. Number to call, 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
You can see him charging out there, and his feet go out from underneath him. But
wanted to go to second, too.
Yeah, that's what I think his mindset was thinking there, trying to get it. You see him trying to turn his body so he can try and get the lead runner. But then when his feet go out from underneath him, you see his pants, he reaches, gets up on one knee, and throws him out. Low sinker to Matsui, who makes a nice play.
Cardinals twice have had the bases loaded tonight. They have stranded 7 this evening. Oswald didn't look real comfortable on that last pitch either. Up and away. See how he's finishing there?
Well, he always kind of finishes a little bit wildly and out of control,
is even
but
more pronounced.
Yeah, and you kind of watch him has the history of the groin pulls, and because he uses those legs to such extreme, and like I said, with that huge stride, you get a little bit too far and you pull a muscle.
2-0 pitch. Popped up left side, playable. Keppinger over and off his glove, so Schumacher has a new life.
Tough play, but that play has to be made, and Keppinger doesn't come up with it. He ends up about a foot or two away from the wall, but very conscious of it. You get a better look right here in the glove, but can't make the play.
2-1. Runners in scoring position. The Cardinals only 2 for 9. You credit Oswald for that. Houston 2 for 4. Up and away. 3 balls and a strike here on Skip, and Colby Rasmus on deck.
It is the 6th inning, but they have activity in their bullpen. A little bit surprising.
I just wonder if they saw something they just don't like after he slipped.
It's a great point, and it's a possibility, but why not go out and visit?
Matsui makes the catch. You're right.
If that's the case.
Yep. So Fulcino, a right-hander, getting loose. They have one lefty. That's Tim Burdak. And that's Felipe Molino also out there along with Jeff Fulcino. Here's Colby Rasmus with 2 outs and a runner at second base. And we talked about it. Oswald has gone right after Colby with fastballs tonight. Rasmus with a single, fly to left, and also popped out to short. Big gap into right center field as Bourne is playing fairly shallow there in center.
It does appear that with his follow through, he's cutting it off more and ended up closer to first base. He put so much into his delivery that it's not uncommon for him to be off balance, but it seems like he's spinning off towards first a little more than usual.
I wonder if they're just a little bit too shallow and right with Hunter Pence, and Bourne shading him the opposite way. Colby with that pop in his bat. He's got 13 home runs. He's driven in 41.
He'll be second among National League rookies with those 13 home runs and 41 RBIs.
It's a big run out there. Brendan Ryan with 2 outs to 1-1. Three to 2 St. Louis. The Cardinals picked up their 3 runs in the first. Houston with 2 in the fourth. 3-2 here in the 6th. Base hit into right. Here comes Brendan Ryan. They'll hold him up. The throw by Pence. One hopper right to the plate. Nice throw.
Pence,
and with Pujols coming up, you don't take any chances.
Well, Pence is one of the league leaders in assists, so he has a strong throwing arm. But the fact that Albert Pujols coming up, even with Brendan's good speed, you can see Oquendo holds him up. Pence, really does have that good throwing arm, and he's possessed that.
And by the way, I want to remind folks that on Friday night, the half-price night, Outfield Lowe's tickets for only $19.50. That's also the Ritz Cardinals water bottle and Tom Hankey at the Ford Plaza before the game. Future Hall of Famer John Smoltz makes his home debut Friday night.
Sure want to remind people of that. It'll be sold out, I'm hopeful. Pence has got 9 assists this year and 25 assists since the start of 08, which is third most in the major leagues.
Pitch in for Healthy Smiles with Delta Dental, and the Cardinals purchase a $2 raffle ticket for a chance to win an autographed baseball by Albert and join the Smiles League. The proceeds benefit local charities that help kids have healthy smiles. For info and to buy your tickets, please go to smilesleague.com.
Remember, Albert has really struggled against the Astros. He struck out the first time, and then 2 base hits since then.
Oof. Out in front, just a shade.
Remember, talked about Albert really struggling against the Astros, but he did have one game here at home where he hit 2 home runs and 7 RBIs.
5 home runs in his career against Oswalt. Tonight he's 2 for 3. 0-1 pitch and a strike. Boy, that is nasty stuff right there.
Albert is one that he can spot a pitcher a strike or 2, and he was ready for the fastball, couldn't center it, and then I think he was, I'm not going to say fooled by the breaking ball, but was looking fastball, and so he took it. He's 0-2, but I don't think that really worries him.
Pitch. It's 60 on the gun here at the ballpark.
60 miles an hour, and he really jumps at you, so it's really hard to keep your weight back. And Albert wants a new baseball.
That takes some guts if you're Oswalt to throw a pitch at 60 miles an hour to Albert Pujols.
Well, I think we all will admit that Oswalt has got a lot of guts, and he's one of those pitchers you really admire. You may beat him on occasion, but you're in a battle.
1-2. Again, same pitch popped up, and the second baseman Matsui makes the catch, and the Cardinals strand 2 more. That's 9 on the night as we head to the 7th.
a 60-mile-an-hour changeup. You saw he got tippy toes, and then the same pitch, 62-mile-an-hour changeup, out in front, pops it up.
And the first pitch is strike to Miguel Tejada, Jeff Keppinger on deck, and then Kaz Matsui. That's what makes Oswalt so good.
A 34-mile-an-hour variance.
Ground ball to Skip. Albert, one away.
That's tough to do that, isn't it? 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and then his changeup at 60.
They've talked about that one of the reasons his curveball is so good, and it's actually a little bit by accident, his grip on the curveball is something that he has struggled with, but yet it has been productive for him. The fact that his grip isn't all that great, you see only 66 pitches thus far for Pinheiro. Get that curveball when you have a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the same motion with the curve or changeup. Boy, that is tough.
Yes, and especially with the changeup, because he really jumps at you, so you're expecting the pitch to come flying out of his hand, and then it just oozes out. Talking with his catcher there, trying to get together on the same page. I don't know for a fact, but I'm almost assuming this could be his first time Coast has ever caught it.
0-2 count on Keppinger with one out, nobody on. Molina wants it outside, gets it there. Goodbye. Strikeout number 4 tonight for Pinheiro. He carved him up.
It's about what Pinheiro averages for 9 innings, but you can tell right now he's pretty dialed in. Right down at the bottom of the strike zone. Dave Duncan really has something working with his starting rotation, and they've pitched the most innings in the National League. They just go out there and attack the strike zone. So you get good defense, and by pitching so many innings, your bullpen is usually rested.
I know we've talked about it before, but these guys internally, the competition inside that dugout every 5th day is a lot of fun.
Competition, and yet it's camaraderie on top of it.
And a base hit past Brendan Ryan on an 0-1 pitch. Well, the Cardinals will have a lot of decisions upcoming in this offseason with DeRosa, Holiday, and this guy right here, Joel Pinheiro.
Got those decisions with guys that are arbitration eligible, like Wellemeyer. And do have a nice decision with Franklin with a very reasonable, especially for an elite closer, an option at $2.75 million. That's signed it as a setup man, and that's reasonable for a setup man, but to get an elite closer for that's outstanding.
It's Chris Coast. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs, and runner at first.
And some discussion that the organization so appreciative may tear up that contract or extend it and rewarding with a new contract when they don't have to.
Two balls and no strikes. Pinheiro, a slow walk and just relaxing a little bit.
Instead on deck if this inning is extended to the pitcher spot.
Oler, Carpenter tomorrow at 12:30. Two balls and no strikes. Coast, a ground ball, but foul. You hope it does not come back to haunt the Cardinals tonight. They have left 9 on. Two and 1. Houston, conversely, is stranded 2.
Cardinals already with 10 hits, but Houston have 7.
Strike 2 on Coast.
Cardinals have had many opportunities but can't put away Oswalt.
Pinheiro in his career a 2.97 ERA against Houston. And this year he's 1-0. And 6 2/3.
Very efficient with his 75 pitches thrown.
And a 2-2 pitch instead of check on the runner. Oh, he almost had him. Albert thought they had him. That's Huey back in just in the nick of time.
First base umpire Doug Eddings, I think he said that Albert got him up on the shoulder. See the false move and got him on the shoulder as his hand reaches and gets back. So
ooh, I'm not so sure.
I think he might have got him on the shoulder, but I think his hand hadn't touched the base yet.
2-2. Goes to ground ball, foul again.
I might have believed he missed him more than
right. Well, last time out against San Diego, 5-1, the Cardinals would win for Pinheiro. Went 7 2/3, gave up 4 hits, and a rare night where he walked 2. He has not walked anybody tonight. He struck out 7 in that game.
He has walked the fewest batters in the National League. He's only allowed 6 home runs, and yet the last 3 starts he's allowed a home run.
2-2.
Got the best ground ball average in the league. Almost 3 ground balls for every fly ball.
Al, you watch him now and you think about where he was a couple of years ago.
Even last year.
Minor leagues to the Boston Red Sox. Wanted to stay in a rotation and pitch to be a starter. Did not want to stay up and be a reliever. Came over to the Cardinals and he has been outstanding.
And I mean, even last year, you know, he's one of those guys where if he didn't have another year in your contract, you probably would assume he wouldn't have been back. 2 times on the disabled list. Never, you know, they keep on talking. He never got caught up in his conditioning, which I find real surprising.
Saw that 12 ground ball outs. Another check on Matsui. Two outs, top of the 7th, 3-2 Cardinals. Cardinals scored 3 in the first. Houston came back with 2 in the 4th. Washington and the Cubs tied up 2-2. That's in the top of the 7th. 2-2 pitch and a ground ball hit to Brendan Ryan. He'll go across the diamond, and it's time to stretch here at Busch Stadium. Matt Holliday leads it off when we return on Fox Sports Midwest. Lives in Connecticut, where he went to college, University of Connecticut. And it's our Chevy call to the bullpen. Prior to this season, he only had 13 major league appearances. We've seen him all year long, and he's in relief of Oswalt. Roy Oswalt goes 6 innings, 3 runs, all earned, 10 hits allowed. He walked 1, he struck out 3, hit 2, and no home runs allowed. Matt Holliday got the scoring started for the Cardinals in the first with a base hit. That would score Skip Schumacher, and that made it 1-0. Numbers here on Fulcino, his 42nd appearance.
Been up and down 3 times with the Astros, originally signed by Florida. Big guy, you know, listed at 6'5", 252.
Came to Houston when he was claimed off of waivers from Kansas City back in 2008. 1 ball, 1 strike here on Holliday.
Been with Florida. Didn't reach there in 06 with Florida, briefly, just 1 game. And Kansas City last year for 12 games.
Tony's talked about with Matt Holliday and his addition in this lineup. The fact is, he does not give away at bats. Always grinding those out.
And you know, it's another aspect too, that he hits the ball very hard. You know, he hits for a high average and can hit home runs.
Just missed. Fulcino was a guy that was never really considered much of a prospect, but he grinded through the minor leagues, number of years. Marlins, then the Royals, and now with Houston. Say his best pitch is that slider that we saw a couple of check swings from Holliday in this at bat. The 3-2 pitch. The fastball at 94 that time and fouled it away.
His last loss was to the Cardinals on August the 1st.
And here we are on August 26th, and the Cardinals looking to go 20 games above 500 with a win tonight.
Yeah, just look at the difference of where we were. It was right towards, you know, the Cardinals got swept in Houston. Lugo showed up in Washington on the makeup game, and then Holliday showed up on first game in Philadelphia, and the team took off.
Is DeRosa. Well, you think about the available bats that were out there, and the Cardinals picked up 2 of the best, DeRosa and Holliday.
If not 2 of the best available.
And that's what I mean. You know, you heard about the names that could have been considered for a trade. You always heard these 2 names, and John Mozeliak pulled the trigger and was able to bring him in.
And Lugo's been a nice surprise. He's a little tailspin now, but gave a shot in the arm. And John Smoltz, yeah, I guess he was okay in his debut for the Cardinals.
So the thing that Holliday and DeRosa and Lugo have really helped with is facing left-handed pitching. And since Holliday arrived, Cardinals are 10-2 against the lefties. 10-2 against left-handed pitching.
I didn't realize it was that good. Because, you know, we keep on saying, and now Dewey Robinson, the pitching coach, is going to have to talk to Fulcino. But once again, even as good as Holliday has been, and you know, he's flirting with 500 here in this ballpark, and he's always hit well when he was a Rocky here in St. Louis. You know, it's been the pitching has been so spectacular. But
well, last night only 3 hits, and they still won the game.
You know, they hit 223 in the 5-2 road trip.
Well, tonight, though, the bats have come alive. 10 hits against Oswalt. This is back in the first inning. A 2-strike delivery by Oswalt. Our Hardy's prime cut of the game. And this would turn into a double that would score 2.
Drives in 2, 69th and 70th RBIs of the year, I believe.
And 17 now with the Cardinals. So DeRosa on base 3 times tonight. That RBI double that you just saw. He singled back in the 4th. And was hit by a pitch in the 5th. Little chopper. They started the runners, so no double play. And DeRosa is out at first. So by starting the runner, they avoid the double play. Holliday in scoring position, and here we go again. The Cardinals with another runner in scoring position. This has really been a sore spot for the team tonight. They have stranded 9.
Just hope it doesn't come back to haunt this ball club.
Van Keel has walked. He has popped out to second, grounded out to second. 3-2 Cardinals. They're half of the 7th. And Keel takes a ball upstairs.
This may be a situation where Rick picks up another home run.
Last home run against San Diego off the bench. A long home run to center. And why do you say that?
I just thought that maybe he might get one of these sliders, a hanging slider or something, and just find something to his liking. And
1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield is deep for Rick Ankiel and straight away. 1-2.
You know, there's many times where Rick right now is kind of really befuddled by the strike zone. You know, taking a lot of fastballs in the strike zone, but
on the inside corner, and Ankiel strikes out.
there's 2 fastballs right there, 94, 95, but he's keeping the bat on the shoulder. I was hoping for the hanging slider, and he just, you know, those are pitches in the strike zone, but he's just not sure what the strike zone is.
So here is Molina. 1 for 3 on the night. Pitch taken low. Talked about it earlier, all those base hits to right field.
Straight away. Not really shading right field. A little bit with the right fielder closer to the line, but center fielder dead set straight.
Count of 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs, and a runner at second base.
Big gap out in right center there, but Bourne has the great speed to track down anything.
3-0. Brendan Ryan on deck. Crowd tonight again over 40,000, 40,311. 4-0-3-1-1. Cardinals with runners in scoring position, 3 for 13. A 3-0. A strike to Molina. 3-1.
Crowd getting a little restless, but it was not a pitch that Molina would want to swing at 3-0. So they try and sell it by going down to first base, but he really didn't leave the batter's box too quickly.
3 balls and 1 strike on Yadier Molina. Dodgers now leading Colorado 6-1 in the top of the 5th. Yadi pops it up. It's playable. Foul territory. Parkman and the Cardinals have stranded 10 tonight. We head to the 8th. 3-2 Cardinals. Erstad is hitting .216. And the ninth spot now in this lineup. So Fulcino scoreless inning of work. And the pitch count right now for Pinheiro is only at 79.
Right, and remember, he's got like 3 complete games, but in those complete games, he was so dominant, he faced 30 or less batters in those games. A lot less hits than the 7 he's allowed.
That slice is fouled out of play.
He's done a very good job of not worrying about his offense. They got him 3 runs in the first inning, and really had been kind of frustrating watching the offense. If they've stranded 10 runners, and you just got to separate and worry about what you can control.
0-2 pitch, trying to tie up Erstad. You can see Molina wanted it up and in. This guy is a heck of an athlete. He was a kicker on a national championship football team in college. Also obviously played baseball. He was with the world champion Angels back in '02.
He's got a gold glove in the outfield and also one in the infield.
Isn't that something?
Yep. And got off to a very slow start this season. Spent some time on the disabled list, but in the second half he's swinging a hot bat.
And he strikes out to start the 8th, and that's strikeout number 5 for Pinheiro.
He set up clearly outside. He hit his target. A little breaking ball back towards it, and gets a strikeout.
Now, one of the things I notice with Pinheiro is just the control. I mean, hitting spots. For the most part, Pinheiro puts down the glove one side of the plate or the other. Not all the time, but most of the time, he's hitting his spots.
Good breaking ball there, but that's the whole key. You get the confidence that that you can control the strike zone. You can throw the ball where you want it. Dave gives you that good, scouting report and a way to retire hitters. And if you can execute it, you got a good chance to win. And to me, last year when we saw Loesch and how spectacular he was, where everything was down or everything was on the corners, and now it's Pinheiro that's doing that. And Loesch is getting her in the middle of the plate.
Back to him, and he's got the second out. 2 away. Now, if you're Tony La Russa and you're thinking along with the Cardinals manager, pitch count is in the mid-80s. Here's a look at Wainwright, who gave them 8 innings last night, but was well over 100 pitches. Do you let him go back out if he's able to get 100 pitches here and you're not even close to 100 pitches yet? Right now, you're only mid-80s.
My mind, yes. The one question is, Franklin had a very efficient inning yesterday, but they were a little concerned after the 33 on Sunday. It's an easy out.
Should be. Into center. Colby. He's got it. Pinheiro through 8. be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. So back-to-back nights, the Cardinals get 8 innings at least from their starters. Wainwright 8 last night, turned it over to Franklin. Pinheiro 8 so far. And
Franklin's warming up.
Yeah, so you figure that's it for Joel Pinheiro.
Yeah.
Sammy Gervasio is into the ball game from the Dominican Republic. Product of the Astros Dominican Academy, was signed as a 17-year-old non-drafted free agent back in 02. And Wandy Rodriguez is also a product of that Astros Dominican Academy, and this will be his 7th appearance of the year.
Been a long time in the minor leagues, 267 career appearances. Second stint with the big club. First time he came up but did not make an appearance, and he is not allowed to run in 5 of his 6 career major league appearances.
So this is our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. I wonder how intrigued Tony was with sending Pinheiro back out there to face Berkman, Lee, and Tejada, and if he does not send him back out there, and by Franklin warming up we get that impression, is it something that you think about with his history with Carlos Lee that plays into that factor?
I almost got to believe that he was told that was going to be his last inning.
Ryan trying to bunt, barehanded, and a nice play as Brendan is out at first. 1 pitch, 1 out.
A little surprised. It looked like Keppinger could have cut it in the air as he let it bounce, and then you're relying on a pretty good bounce. And there you see Pinheiro. He'll get the applause as everyone appreciates his 8 innings of outstanding pitching, and Thurston will pinch hit.
So the line on Pinheiro: 7 hits, 2 runs. He strikes out 5 tonight.
I was going to say that in my mind, I think Tony told him that he was going to pitch. The final inning would be the 8th inning for Pinheiro, because when he was walking off the field, he kind of made a gesture to the home plate umpire saying, "Nice job." You wouldn't think he would do that if he's going back out for the night. So I think in his mind, he thought he was through. And now you've got Trevor Miller getting up, so they may turn Berkman around and let Franklin come in with hopefully 1 out.
Thurston, 2 pitches, 2 outs for Gervasio. And so Miller getting loose along with Franklin out there in the Cardinals bullpen. By the way, the new Game Day magazine just came out today, and it's a commemorative issue looking back at the All-Star game. Number to call: 345-9303, 345-9303. And you can get the Game Day magazine right here at Busch Stadium, STOCardinals.com, area grocers and bookstores. They've done a wonderful job with this. 314-345-9303. So Gervasio, 2 pitches, 2 outs, and a pitching change for Houston coming up. The only lefty out there. This will be his 56th appearance, and he'll get Skip Schumacher, with the Cardinals leading 3-2 here in the bottom of the 8th. And so Schumacher will be pinch hit for by Julio Lugo.
Actually, right-handed hitters have had a tougher time against Burdak than lefties. Righties 156 average, lefties are 203.
Burdak is from Lockport, Illinois. 5th round selection by the Royals back in 1994 out of Rice University. 2 years ago, 59 appearances for Houston. Last year, he was right around 52.
He's 3 appearances away from tying his career high at 59. And he's had a scoreless streak to 8 appearances, covering 6 2/3 innings.
Here's another one of those guys that played independent baseball. He did it for 4 years.
Got to savor every moment you're in the big leagues.
And he's a guy that does not take a trip to the big leagues lightly. Doesn't take it for granted. Said he was basically broke a few years ago. He and his wife were expecting a baby. He was in independent baseball, didn't want to give up on his dream, and then finally signed and picked up his first major league win.
By the way, the River City Rascals manager, Bryce Flory, has been doing an outstanding job there. Hopefully somebody will take notice and maybe he can graduate from the independent league and get a big league job.
And Lugo takes a ball up and in. Almost ran into it.
Yeah, trying to show bunt and almost picked the wrong pitch.
Lugo, a former Astro, you might remember.
Lugo in a little bit of a tailspin as he's over for his last 16.
Burdak has been with Cleveland, San Diego, Baltimore, the Tigers, Kansas City, here with Houston. And he walks Julio Lugo. Trying to extend it to Albert Pujols, no doubt. And Colby's had a nice ball game. He's 2 for 4. He's flied out to left, popped out to short, a couple of singles.
Troy Hawkins is warming up for the Astros. Trevor Miller, the only one, as they'll turn around Berkman.
And a breaking ball and a strike.
Still a learning experience for Kobe against all pitching, but particularly lefties.
Set up outside the 0-1 pitch, same pitch, and that time he stayed away. Pujols on deck. Rasmus with that single in the first and again in the 6th. The Cardinals tonight have stranded 10. Houston is stranded 3. The Redbirds have out hit the Astros 10-7, and they lead it 3-2. Runner goes, a swing and a miss, and a throw to second. Lugo is in there with a stolen base.
Takes off here, gets himself in scoring position, and hopefully, base hit by Kobe, he can score. See that 146 average against lefties.
Off the end of the bat and a foul ball. So 2 strikes now on the Cardinals center fielder Colby Rasmus. Look at the defense and how they play Colby. Big gap in right center, and they're pretty shallow there in center field and right too. 1-2 pitch and a called 3rd strike. So we head to the 9th, and big bats for Houston coming up. Berkman, Lee, and Tejada. 3-2 Cardinals.
3-2 Cardinals lead as we go to the ninth at Busch Stadium. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. Pat Parris standing by with Doc Horton. They'll look at a busy first inning double trouble for the Astros tonight, and Tony TV. Hopefully he won't be laughing at me tonight. It's coming up after the game. For now, we send it back to Dan and Al.
Oh, we always look forward to that. Thank you, Jim. That's U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live coming up. Here's Trevor Miller. Opponents overall hitting 180. 54th appearance this season for the Cardinal lefty. And the reason that Trevor starts here in the ninth is switch Berkman around right-handed, where he's hitting just .211, and 4 of his 18 home runs have been hit from this side of the plate. So it makes all the sense in the world.
Most definitely. He's a very dangerous hitter from the left side. You don't want to take him lightly from the right side, but you know, if you're looking for matchups, anytime you can turn him around to the right side, you do so.
So here we go. Ninth inning, 3-2 Cardinals. First pitch, a swing and a miss, and a big cut there from Berkman.
Yeah, just Berkman knows Trevor Miller very well, as they're former teammates, and
that kind of swing though will get your attention.
Oh yeah, trying to tie it up, if not to hit a 4-run home run with nobody on base.
You don't see him swing like that normally.
No. Trevor's got a win or a hold in 5 of his last 6 appearances.
And a line shot into center. Colby is there for the first out. We started our telecast tonight with 5 players to watch out for in 55 seconds. We had 5 in 55, and here's our update. Oswalt, one of the players we highlighted, 6 innings, 10 hits, 3 earned runs. Pinheiro, outstanding again. 8 innings, 2 earned runs. Brendan Ryan, we talked about his defense. He went 1 for 3. Also helped with a couple of double plays. We mentioned Lee because of his success against Pinheiro. 2 for 3 with an RBI, and to be determined. Ryan Franklin. Here he comes, the Cardinals closer. He'll try to get the final 2 outs. 3-2. So here is Ryan Franklin. He'll try to get these outs quickly. His 51st appearance, and for the most part, he has done that this year, where it's just been 1, 2, 3 with a full inning, and right now we're hoping 1, 2.
Well, he picked up his 33rd save last night. He has saves in his last 9 outings. He got Carlos Lee to fly out to right field for the final out yesterday.
He's 7 for 31 against Franklin.
You know, if things go according to plan, this game will be over about 9:34.
Lee, left center, Rasmus, and it's off the wall. Colby gets over his head. Now he bobbles it a bit. Lee is thinking 2, and he'll stop there.
He wasn't running. If he was running hard, he might have had a tough decision to decide whether he wanted to go to third or not. But as assuming that it was just going to be a base hit or maybe even a double, but watch him come out of the batter's box. He's running there, but then he kind of slows down a little bit, in my mind. Now he kind of almost broke stride going around first, but Colby kicks this cleanly. Now watch here.
Mason Ed, by the way, will pinch run at second base.
And might be able to hold him to a single.
So one out runner at second base. 3-2 Cardinals tying run in scoring position. You see in the background Valverde, their closer, is getting loose. And here is Miguel Tejada. Tejada has flied out to center, grounded into a double play started by Pinheiro, and he's also grounded out to second. Against Franklin, 10 for 34. Folks on the edge of their seats here at Busch Stadium. A double by Carlos Lee. Masonette, the runner at second base with good speed. They're trying to keep him close. And the first pitch, a fastball in there at 92 and strike one. Look at the gap between the left fielder, Holiday, and Rasmus in center. It is huge.
Yeah, he's got good power to the opposite field, but you know, he can turn on a ball and hit one in the gap, and there's no way anybody's going to throw out Masonette.
And an 0-1 pitch now to the Astros shortstop. Tejada 0-2. This is where Franklin is so good with all the different pitches that he possesses to get righties or lefties out.
Actually has better numbers against left-handers than right-handers, but been very effective as he's 33 saves and 35 opportunities. Looking for, he's tied for first with his 33 saves in the National League. Crowd getting behind him now.
0-2 pitch to Tejada. Slowly hit. DeRosa cuts it off. Can't get it out of the glove, but still got him. Out at first is Tejada. No argument from Jose Cruz or Miguel Tejada.
Tejada looking back, but I think it was clearly that he was out. Cuts it off. Third baseman has that. Had a little trouble with exchange, and then he guns it over there. And very close play. Man, I think look at the replay. It could have gone either way. There was exchange. Masonette does advance, and that one looks like he's out. So that one looks like he's saved.
I'm saying out.
Well, the umpire said out, so that's all that counts.
Now the Cardinals, and here comes Dave Duncan out to visit with Ryan Franklin, have seen Franklin with 33 saves this year. He's tied with Houston Street of Colorado, who's had a tremendous year. Houston Street, by the way, came over in the holiday deal with Oakland and Colorado. So he has 33. Franklin at 33. Brian Wilson of San Francisco at 30, along with Heath Bell of San Diego. So with a save tonight, he goes to 34 and leads the National League. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the season?
I think Ryan thought he could do the job, but he probably wouldn't have thought he'd be leading the league in saves.
Keppinger 3 for 5 against Franklin. Budweiser player of the game, Joel Pinheiro. 8 innings. Cardinals trying to hold on for Joel and give him his 13th win. First pitch to Keppinger. Fouled away for strike one. Fans on their feet here at Busch Stadium. Again, the crowd 40,311 tonight.
I've got 9:37. What will the time be when the game's over?
0-1 pitch to Keppinger. Ooh, just missed. Maybe a little high, maybe a little outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Dana Demuth has done a nice job tonight, but he heard a little bit there as the home crowd wanted a strike called.
Keppinger twice has grounded out. He also struck out in his most recent at bat in the 7th. 1-1 pitch. Slowly hit towards the middle. Cardinals win it. Brendan Ryan makes the play. The Cardinals are 20 games above the 500 mark. They win it tonight 3-2. Win number 74 for the Cardinals. They're now 74 and 54. Pinheiro 13 and 9.